from within. This is designed for health. Right now, in United States, 30% of the healthcare bills are in the last 1 year of someone's life. We need to bring a culture of health, how we eat, how we sit, how we stand, how we breathe. So especially those of you who are into becoming doctors, first and foremost thing is you must exude health.
Kalo n janati tava jananam, Kalo n janati tava samapanam, Drushto maya tava mahakaraha Yogeshwara Kala Kala, Yogeshwara Kala Kala. Namaskaram. Right, I said namaskaram.
Good morning to everyone.
Namaskaram, Sadhguru. Before we begin, I'd like to thank Sounds of Isha for their wonderful reverberating music and touching our souls with their song.
I don't think they enjoyed the music.
Oh, we all do. Yes.
But nobody was on their feet, they were just…
Namaskaram once again, Sadhguru. On behalf of Prathima Institute of Medical Sciences, I'd like to welcome you to our college, sir. It's indeed a privilege and a blessing to have you face to face. So your presence and your coming has rather created a big buzz all throughout our college, and we've had questions pouring in for the past couple of weeks. Yes, sir. So before we begin with our questioning, I'd like to introduce the student panel, sir. I'm Chetna from third year MBBS.
I'm Ishwar from third year MBBS.
And I'm Abhilasha from third year MBBS.
Namaskaram, sir.
You got fans out there, huh?
Sadhguru, with your permission, if I may.
Please.
Sadhguru, coming to the first question, I'd like to draw your attention to a very recent event that took place in West Bengal, where a group of doctors were brutally beaten up by raged family members of a patient who died during his treatment. Sadhguru, how do you think we as medical students are supposed to deal with this violence against healing hands?
Well, in Bengal, everybody gets beaten up. Not just the doctors. Every day you're hearing it all over the place, just about everybody gets beaten because unfortunately, we have created a culture of violence. Everything is settled this way. There are many reasons, these are political stuff, I don't think it's relevant to go into that here, but this is very important for all of us, that we create a culture of peace. When I say a culture of peace, every transaction that human beings have, somebody gains, somebody loses, huh? Yes or no? In every transaction, whether it's within the family, in the community, in the larger situations in the country or among nations, whatever you do, always someone loses, someone gains a little bit. How to go through these transactions without making them frictious or conflict? This has to come within every one of us, that when I lose, I don't want to beat you. I have some other way of settling it. This doesn't mean I will simply lose. No, there are other ways to fight. There are other ways to fight than getting physical with you, isn't it? So, this culture of peace will not come just like that. This culture of peace needs to be… it's a generational work. It's not like one day slogan you all shout and go back home, that's not going to work. It's a generational work it's about how we bring up our children, it's about how we behave on the street, how we interact with each other. On all levels, we create a culture of peace. As a part of this, because this is the 150th anniversary of Mahatma's birth anniversary, I am also part of the 20-member committee chaired by the Prime Minister for this purpose. As a part of this, we are doing various other things, but one aspect of it is about culture of peace. So we are doing major events in the world with top celebrities. The idea of bringing the celebrities in is so that the world's eyeballs will come to it. People should understand there is a way of dealing with things peacefully. Mahatma is a representative of this, that he found peaceful solutions for very violent problems. Not only in India, using his inspiration, Nelson Mandela in South Africa, Martin Luther King in United States, the entire movement there, very violent problems, but peaceful solutions were found. This is important if all of us want to exist. Why I'm saying this is, there was a time when the only weapon we could pick up was a stick. The stick became a sword, the sword became an arrow became a gun has become a bomb has become a super kind of bomb. Once this kind of destructive capabilities we have, it's extremely important that we have a culture of peace within us, because it's not just going to be a broken bone, I don't know how you got it. If you took a stick, it would be just a broken bone. Took a sword, just one man died. But if you took a nuclear bomb, now entire civilizations can go. So this has become extremely important now, that there is a culture of peace within me and around me. This is not going to come with slogans, this is not going to come with politics. This is a generational work that all of us need to work for, that we bring this into our lives. No matter what is the loss that we go through, we learn to conduct it in a certain way. See, whenever something happens to us that we think is injustice, we want to beat somebody. This is very important, that you learn to swallow injustice and work for justice. You don't try to fix injustice right there on the street. This is happening. So, the way the traffic is going in the country, just now I came from Hyderabad, the way it is going in our cities, if you don't hit anybody today, it's an accident. Hello? Yes or no? That's the way it's going on. But if as much as your car touches somebody or your motorcycle touches somebody, right there they get down and start thrashing each other. Because they're disappointed nobody got injured in the accident. Now they want to do that. How did this happen? Don't tell me, it's okay. So, to bring a culture of peace is not one day's work. All of us need to work upon that. First of all, we should know how to be peaceful. Peace means many things to many people because you're medical students and doctors. You know that human experience has a chemical basis to it. So what you call as peace is a certain kind of chemistry. What you call as joy is another kind of chemistry. What you call as ecstasy is another kind of chemistry. Agony is one kind of chemistry, misery another kind of chemistry, stress, tension, whatever you go through are different levels of chemistry. Now, this human body is the most sophisticated and complex chemical factory on the planet. Do you agree with me? Only problem is you're a lousy manager. Hello? You're a lousy manager, it just boom, boom, it goes inside. The bomb is not outside, the bomb is inside. Outside bomb is only a further facilitation of the bombs that explode inside, isn't it? You're watching movies where everything is settled violently. Your heroes are always bashing people, isn't it? Hello? So if you like that, and if you think that's the best way to do it, that's the way you will do it. What I hit with my hand, when I think I've lost something big, I will also bomb you, isn't it so? Hello? If all I have is my hands, I will use it. If I have a gun, I'll use it. If I have a bomb, I will use it. Every 2 months at least, you're hearing from United States, somebody walks into your school and shoots all the children. Hello? You're hearing this, isn't it? Repeatedly, universities, schools, because they have access to guns. People think it's an American phenomenon. No, no, no. In India, if people had access to guns, they would have shot each other everywhere. Yes or no? There is no gun, so they're slapping each other, or some people are more equipped, they're stabbing each other, all right? So please understand this, the violence is not in the society, the violence is within us. What have we done about that? This is what inner engineering means, that you engineer yourself the way you want to be. Nobody can take you where they want. If somebody else can decide what should happen within you right now, you're an absolute slave, isn't it? Hello? Hello? You don't like it? See, if I decide how you should dress, how you should sit, what you should eat, you will say this is slavery, isn't it? But if I decide right now whether you can be happy or unhappy, peaceful or violent within yourself, if I'm going to decide this, are you not in slavery? Worst kind of slavery, isn't it? That what happens within you, I will decide. This is what you're allowing in your life. You're allowing this to happen to you, that somebody can decide what happens within you. If you don't take charge of this, you will live a life of a slave. When you live a life of a slave, you will always feel life is unjust to you. When you feel it's unjust, violence is a natural consequence of that. This happened. Can I tell you a little story? Yes. No? Yes. Okay. Because some of you are shaking your head like this, maybe it's a different society. I'm seeking your permission because for most people, the moment you say once upon a time, they think it's bedtime. Especially in the last rows, the lighting is correct. A yogi was walking by. What's this village? What's the local village? Huh? Chuppadandi. Huh? Nagaluru. Oh, Nagatara andru? Nagaluru. A yogi was passing by in your Nagaluru. A few people gathered and abused him. In every possible way, they can abuse him. He listened to all the abuse very attentively, not ignoring them, very attentively. Then he said, I have an event in Prathima college. In the evening, I'll come the same way. If you have something more to say, you can tell me at that time. These are the kind of people, they will say 100 things. If you say one thing, they will beat you. They're just waiting for that. But he said, he heard all the worst kind of abuse, and then he said, in the evening I'll come back if you're ready for more. Now what do you do with this man? Because this man is like this not because he's a coward. He's like this because he's decided how to be in his life. He's decided he lives peacefully and joyfully. You pull him whichever way you want, he won't come your way, he'll go only where he wants to go. An intelligent man or no? Huh? Just you must look at yourself and see. Anybody can drag you whichever way they want, isn't it? One word, just one word, they can drag you. This freedom, every human being, especially the youth of this country, must earn, that nobody can decide how you are within yourself and what you will do with your life. You decide. Otherwise, you will live a life of a slave. When you live like a slave, at some point your frustration will burst out as violence. So it doesn't just happen to the doctors, it just happens to everybody. It's happening to all kinds of people every day, isn't it?
Sadhguru, the heartbeat bill that has recently been declared in the US, it declares that any woman who aborts anything with a heartbeat, she is declared a criminal immediately.
I didn't understand that, please.
The heartbeat law…
I don't think her microphone is…
No, it's fine.
Yeah.
The heartbeat law states that any woman who kills or aborts anything with a heartbeat, she immediately is declared a criminal. And this is a law in a developed country like US. And obviously, there are certain cases where we see pregnancy brought about by rape, pregnancy in teens, and also pregnancy with fetal anomalies. So, and they are still forced to have these children. So, do you think it is justified that a law can take away a woman's right to her own womb?
See, I'm not for these kind of laws, all right? But at the same time, I want you to look at it with a little broader aspect. In this country, there have been many people who have killed their own daughters. I'm particularly saying daughters because that happens more to girls. It also happens to boys. Because the father believes, after all, you're my child, if you don't behave the way I want, I will kill you. It's happened or no? Not one or two, it's happened in quite substantial number that you cannot ignore the number, that kind of number has happened. So where does this right come? Because it is because of me you're born, so you must do what I want you to do, so I'll take your life. So similarly, it's my womb, I will do whatever I want, this will not go. At the same time, a woman has a freedom to do what she wants. But what she wants does not mean you can take it to any level of irresponsibility. There was a time when women had no means to prevent pregnancies, all right? Today there's substantial means, isn't it? So I would say, within 5, 6 or 10 weeks or 12 weeks or 14 weeks, you must terminate if you don't wish. But allowing the child to grow, I've seen cases, I'm saying this particularly because I've seen people, they have boyfriends and they got pregnant. Now, it is 5-month pregnancy, this really came to me a few months ago, and the boyfriend left her, some fight between them, she went away. Now she wants to abort the child. This is not okay. You cannot go on like this. I think some kind of number of weeks we can fix. In my judgment, I think before 48 days, if it happens, it's best. But sometimes a woman may not be able to know that she is pregnant. Let us allow 10 weeks, 12 weeks, maybe 14 weeks. You can't go to 25 weeks, 30 weeks and try to terminate a child. It's not nice. Because it's alive, it's a living life. You must understand, of all the creatures on this planet, a fetus as a life is the most helpless life. Yes? Even a little child, a 2-year-old child, if you try to do harm to him, he will bite, he will do fight, he has some defense. A fetus is totally in your mercy. You must treat it with utmost compassion. Because of your convenience, you can't do whatever you want. At the same time, does somebody else decide this? No. A woman should decide this, there's no question about that. But at the same time, some kind of norm has to be there, that within this much time it must happen. After the child has grown, there is substantial studies saying the child has even emotion towards the mother. You don't kill a life which has emotion, isn't it? That amounts for something else. So I think both the sides take extreme positions, this is the problem. Let's take a more humane and practical position. Why? Why are you for or against something? It is a question of life, isn't it? How do we handle this life? With what due respect do I handle this life? It's been happening, it's yesterday or day before, there is some information saying the male-female proportion in the country has improved, congratulations. But at the same time, why was it down? Female children who are born after… because they didn't go for sonogram, this, that, they're born and they're girls. Simple thing, what's being done in the villages is, they just take some paddy granules and put it in the mouth. It gets stuck somewhere and the child dies in a terrible way, just because it's a female. So now, if I can terminate a child at 5, 6 months, why not after 10 months when the child has come out? I'm saying the logic will extend itself, you must be careful about taking up causes, because what is the consequence of what we do today, tomorrow? To what extremes will people take it? This must be taken into account, because what I'm saying is not a rarity. How many thousands must have been killed? Only a few are caught. Hello? Only a few are caught, thousands have been killed. Because a 5-day-old child, if it dies, people will, think something happened to the child. Infant mortality is there. How much of this infant mortality is actually murder, nobody knows, okay? So we must be careful what we argue for. This is not about this versus that. A more humane way of handling life is definitely needed, isn't it?
Namaskaram, Sadhguru. Fasting on auspicious days has existed in India since time immemorial, but many Indians believe that it's unscientific and illogical. Until the work on autophagy induced during fasting has been awarded the Nobel Prize. Even I started doing intermittent fasting this year. So why are such beneficial ancient practices being labeled orthodox and then immediately implemented once there is a Western approval?
That's because you don't have the right color of the skin. I've been talking about this for 40 years, all right? And I have seen hundreds and thousands of people who just become healthy and well simply because they're not fueling up all the time when the tank is filling. In the yoga center, everybody eats at 10 o'clock in the morning and at 7 o'clock in the evening. Our lives are very physically active. There are no automobiles inside the ashram, it's a large place. Everybody either walks or cycles. Even if you have to go to the dining hall, it's a kilometer. If you want to go to your workplace, it's half a kilometer, 1 kilometer, like this. All the time, people are physically active. So everybody is very hungry. By the time it's 3:30, 4 o'clock in the evening, they're extremely hungry. But we learn to live with that, because hunger… empty stomach and hunger are two different things. Hunger means your energy levels start dropping. But empty stomach is a good thing. In the yogic sciences, today modern science also is coming in line with this. But what we know by our experience, you will spend $1 billion to come there. Because research is all about how many $1 million, that's how it is. Your body and your brain works at its best only when your stomach is empty. So we always make sure we eat in such a way, how much ever we eat, our stomach must be always empty within 2 to 2.5 hours' time maximum. So we go to bed hungry always. People think they cannot sleep. They can sleep. On an average, for 25 years on an average, I slept only 2.5 to 3 hours. These days I'm getting little lazy and sleeping anywhere between 3.5 to 4.5 hours, in spite of the level of travel that I have. When I say level of travel, if I say my level of travel in the next few days, you will fall off your chair. Yes? Should I tell you? No, not necessarily. Because in the next 10 days, I'm in 5 different countries doing I don't know how many events, all kinds of events. So, you are able to keep this up simply because you don't overeat. It's very, very important. Everybody eats 2 meals. I generally eat only 1 meal, 4:35 in the evening, because I don't like to sit in front of the plate and worry about how much to eat. I like to eat well. So, 4:35 in the evening, if I eat a meal, it's only next day. Is this enough? Am I looking okay? Hello? I'm not looking like your patient, isn't it? I'm not going to come to you because any correction and purification that needs to happen in the body, your stomach needs to be empty. It's very, very important. Otherwise, the purification on the cellular level will not happen. You pile up things and then you have all kinds of problems. The first thing is inertia in the body. Inertia means there are many levels of inertia. If you don't notice all that, the amount of sleep that you have is inertia. All of you have come here to live or… Hello? To live, right? Not here, I'm saying into this life. You want to live or… The intention of life is to live, isn't it? But because you talked about American doctors, this is all being picked up here also. All American doctors say minimum 7 to 8 hours you must sleep. So that means 1/3 of your life you must sleep. Another 2-3 hours, 4 hours goes in bath, toilet, eating, this, you know. So literally 50% of your life is just maintenance. Suppose you have a vehicle, you have a motorcycle or a car, if it goes to service 1 day in a month, all right to keep it. If it goes to service 15 days in a month, this is a nuisance, isn't it so? Most people have made their systems into a nuisance because their own body is a big impediment in their life. Anything they want to do, their body will not allow them to do. So in this there are many aspects. One important aspect is people are eating much more than what they should eat. Simply because they have been told, you must eat more, otherwise you will become weak, this, that. No, it is the way you keep your body. Today everybody is trying to work towards a fuel-efficient car, motorcycle, everything. This means what? If the machine runs smoothly, it'll consume less fuel, isn't it? So if you sit here and you are very much at ease, now it'll consume less fuel. If you like this all the time, then it'll consume more fuel, it'll want you to eat. Compulsiveness will come about this. So, this new name, intermittent eating you should see, in United States, people come to our programs will run 10 hours, 12 hours. So, but they will come with some biscuit and something else. They say, I have sugar intolerance, I have to eat. I tell them, you just be here, you're not going to die, I'll ensure, because I don't want anybody dead on my hands, all right? I'll make sure. You first day, no, I have to eat. By third day, they gave up all that. 12 hours without food they sat there, they're perfectly fine. See, health is not something you can do from outside. Health is something you have to do from within. From outside, when something goes wrong, you can seek some help. But all the time something is wrong with you, this means what? You're a faulty machine. Yes? All the time something is wrong with you, why? That's not how this is designed. This is designed for health. Every cell in your body is designed to create health, isn't it? They're all working hard to create health, except you. So, minimum 8 hours gap is what is recommended in yoga. Between one meal and the next meal, there must be an 8-hour space. If you do this, you will see half your problems of health, whatever you have health problems, minimum 50% will go away in 6 weeks' time. If you do certain other things which may right now seem little extreme to you, if you have a little yogic practice, something meditative within you, then you will see 90% of your problem will go off. 10% if it still persists, we can treat it. Now, it's become like this, the healthcare systems, especially where there is heavy insurance policies. People are eating and drinking all kinds of rubbish, go to the doctor and say, fix me. This is not how it works
Guru, in the medical wards, when we come across our first patient death, we are very moved.
Oh, the very first one you killed?
Obviously. Our first death of a patient, we are very moved. But gradually, as we come across, if and when we do come across more deaths, we become very nonchalant and unperturbed. Do you think this desensitization towards death in the medical profession is compromising our humanity?
If you're nonchalant, definitely. But being a doctor, every dead body you see, if you're going to cry, then that's going to be a very big problem. Because when you're emotionally pitched up, you cannot do things sensibly. Everybody knows this, isn't it? So very important. Well, if somebody is dying of old age, it's a different matter. But a whole lot of people might have come to you because of injury, because of some other ailment, something, fit enough to live, but you have to do the right things for them to live. So if your heart is pumping hard when you see your patient breathing hard, then you will definitely do something to kill him. It's very important that you learn to treat it as professionally as possible. This doesn't mean you're nonchalant. Nonchalant is not the word. Unperturbed, but concerned that you must live. The way you're addressing the question, I'm not picking on you, the way you're addressing the question is a doctor is supposed to see lots of deaths. Doctor should see minimum number of deaths on their table. Hello? That's a good thing. And anyway, this whole thing about people coming to hospital to die is not a good thing. Mortality is a certain thing, right? All of us are going to die. So people need not go to hospital to die. People should learn to die gracefully. All other creatures die like this. They all realize when they're going to die and they will move to one place, sit quietly, they won't eat anything and they will die. Right now, in United States, the statistics says, tell me if I'm wrong about the statistics, 30% of the healthcare bills are in the last 1 year of someone's life. 10% of the healthcare bill is in the last 22 days of one's life. 30% of US healthcare bill means over $1 trillion. You understand? That is half of India's economy. That much is being spent in the last 1 year, largely lying down in one place, not able to move, not able to do anything, once in a way open your eyes and close your eyes for this. And it's torture for that person, absolute torture. Doctors may think they are treating, they are, of course, that's their intention, but patient's experience is torture. Yes or no? We are willing to go through some torture if there is a lease of certain number of years to live. But there is no point going through torture if hospital bed is the only place I can be and I will last for another 3 months and die. Better go 3 months early. Hello? Now this may sound like, oh, I'm saying let them die. That's not the point. That is not the point. The point is just this, both for the living and the dying, it becomes extremely difficult this 1 year, isn't it? Hello? It becomes it's not only for the dying, for the living also. And above all, for the person who is dying, we are just torturing that man endlessly. And he doesn't know whether he can live or not. So, these are dangerous things to talk about, because then people may start taking a call, okay, anyway he's going to die, don't treat him. That's not the point. Within the medical system, there must be a guideline, how far to go to rescue a life, how far do you go? Right now we have taken this thing that we must go all the way, it doesn't matter, he's just collapsing, but we won't leave him. It is also very important he dies gracefully, isn't it? Hello? Is it not important? but nobody can die gracefully when there are so many doctors around. I'm not trying to comment on this, but what I'm telling you is, we have built this culture now. Right from ancient times in this country, when we see that somebody is dying, people came, chanted something, whatever they believe in, put him not in the house, just outside so that he feels free, fresh air and everything. Everybody sit there, wait, chant something, let him go out of old age. If you take him to the hospital, he may last another week, 10 days, but he will go through torture. So there must be concern for that person, for that life which wants to exit. These are very hard decisions to make because crime may happen. All kinds of criminal stuff may happen if you take a call on this. But as human beings, our humanity should decide this, not our principles, not our laws, not something else. Our basic humanity must decide these things. But the way it is going right now in the Western world, and slowly that is very much happening here, this needs to be looked at because nearly 80% of the people, I don't know, at least in United States, I think 80% of the people die under medical care, at least. So, they are not dying well. They are just dying with lots of pain, lots of injections, lot of this thing, do this, do that. No, there is a point beyond which… First of all, this is not built into people's lives. In this culture, yogis especially, when they feel they have done their work, they just sat in one place and they left. If that much wisdom is not there, at least one must understand within himself. This is also for that person I'm saying. If you leave it to your relative, he cannot say, I won't get you treated. If you leave it to your doctor, he cannot say, I won't treat you, it's time you die. Somebody else cannot decide this. If it's my life, I must decide this, isn't it? But sometimes I may not be in a condition to decide this. This is a complex affair, but we need to revisit this without creating opportunity for crime, without creating opportunity for people to misuse this. It is definitely something that we need to revisit this and look at this carefully. If… I'm not talking about euthanasia or something, but at least allowing somebody to die peacefully. When 30% of the healthcare bill is going for the last 1 year, where they're immobile in the bed, what's the point of this? It's not just about money. It's about the nation, it is about the society. $1 trillion healthcare bill, if you give it to India, this country is finished. That is just for 300 million people. This is for 1.4 billion people. So, these things need revisiting. But the problem is, the moment we open the subject, for and against, people will start screaming. Everywhere they're screaming. In the news channels they're screaming, political platforms they're screaming, activists are screaming, social media is screaming. You cannot say anything sensible in the country. It's become like this because everybody are vested interest groups constantly screaming. If you quieten the screaming people, I'm sure we can form committees in every hospital, some kind of a board, which comes, examines not an individual doctor, but a group of people who take a call, whether it's worth pushing this man endlessly or letting him go. A group, a responsible group can take this call.
According to our medical standards, ideally there should be one doctor for every 1,000 people. But in India, it's about half. That is, about every 2,000 people have one doctor. Despite this disparity, most of us dream of going abroad and living in the comforts of the West. Sadhguru, what are the changes we should bring at both the national level as well as in the medical field to control this brain drain and talent drain in the country?
I would treat these two things, the first part of the question and the second separately. Every 2,000 people need one doctor, I don't like that. You're saying there's not enough? Every 1,000 you need one, is it? Oh, I don't like that at all. I would like every 5 or 10,000 people has one doctor. That means they're healthy. Recently, because we are working to see how to bring preventive care into hospitals, large hospitals, so we are working with a large group, the Apollo group. The chairperson came to meet me along with his whole team, and he was telling me situations how young doctors, particularly cardiologists, having heart attacks and dying. He was talking about an incident where a 30-year-old doctor was driving home. On the way, there was their own cardiac care center, something was there, but he did not realize that he needs it, because you always think somebody else needs it, all right. He went home, parked his car, got down, took 3 steps, collapsed right there in front of his house door. By the time his wife came and opened the door, he died. Like this, he said, these things are happening very often. When this came up, I just started thinking, oh, do we have such a possibility? Because we have over 4,000–5,000 people living in the yoga center, and every day at least 10 to 12,000 people are coming and going. Then I looked back and saw, we've not had a single heart attack in the last 27 years. Nobody died. Then I said, except for a few old people beyond a certain age, no young person ever had a heart attack here, especially they did not die of cardiac stuff. Then Sadhguru, that's why I'm here. So I don't like for every 1,000 people one doctor. Maybe it'll give you a job, but it is not necessary. We need to bring a culture of health. How we eat, how we sit, how we stand, how we breathe. If you bring this into the social life, you won't need so many doctors. See, I want you to understand, I'm not saying this with any prejudice against you, my father is a physician, all right? Among many things that you do, professions, various professions that we do, this is very vital service when people are unhealthy or people are unwell or something happens. But at the same time, for any given society, it is not a productive possibility. It is because people are getting damaged in some way, you're fixing, all right? So do you need better cars on the road or do you need more mechanic shops? Something we must decide, isn't it? We need to cultivate a better sense of health. Health, everybody must understand, is their basic responsibility. It is not medical industry's responsibility, it is every individual should understand, this is my responsibility to be healthy, this must be built from early childhood. I'll tell you, if everybody invests just 30 minutes every day for their physical well-being, simple process, if they do, most of them won't go to the doctor. The frequency of going to the doctor will come down dramatically, dramatically. So every 1,000 people need one doctor, I don't go by that. To keep him busy, they must be falling sick, isn't it? Because once he sits there, you have to keep him busy. It's an investment of a person in the nation. So, if we work for healthy societies, we don't need so much of medicine. Definitely we need it. No human being will go through their life without ever being sick, all right? It'll always happen. But at the same time, how sick do you get? How often do you get sick? This is not to say boastful things, but in these 37 years that I've been active, that literally every day, 7 days of the week, 365 days, I have a schedule. Normally 18 to 20 hours a day. I have not cancelled one event because I was not well. This doesn't mean I didn't catch a flu, this doesn't mean I didn't catch a flu, it doesn't mean I didn't get some fever, it doesn't mean I didn't get a toothache. All this happened. But they never stopped my schedules. They don't even today. Because there is a way a human being can take charge of their own bodies, their own minds. If we don't bring this into the society, then we've just lowered the human potential, especially in our country. Because I want you to understand, in this country, the only resource you have is human resource. People and population is all you have. For 1.4 billion people, you don't have a piece of land for everybody. You don't have enough mountains, you don't have enough rivers, you don't have enough forests, you don't even have a piece of sky for 1.4 billion people. Yes, but we have people. If we upgrade these people to a higher level of performance and living, we could be a miracle. But if you leave them just like that, unfocused, unhealthy and whatever, we are a recipe for disaster. Yes or no? All we have is people. So upgrading the people involves various things, but the most fundamental thing is health. The people are healthy. Today, there are issues of malnourishment, there are issues of people by choice eating bad food. Above all, one of the biggest problems with India is they are not physically active. There is no culture of fitness. Every year we trek in Kailash, 35 to 40 Indian tourists die every year because of altitude issues. I take the largest groups. We are literally 17 or 18% of the Kailash yatris who go there. From Isha, that many people go there. But we don't have a single casualty because we make sure people are in a certain condition, certain practices are taken care of, certain discipline is there. Today, because of constant year after year Indian people dying, the Chinese government put a new rule last year saying that Indians over 70 years of age cannot visit Kailash anymore. But if you are an American, you can go, if you're a German, you can go, if you're an Australian, you can go, if you're whatever else, you can go. Only Indians over 70 cannot go because Indians just die. How's that? It's a statement on us, how we are. So especially those of you who are into becoming doctors, first and foremost thing is you must exude health, huh? If your patient sees you, you must look radiant and healthy, isn't it? You are only… She was telling me, why are they all sitting like this? She says, no, we are medical students, we are supposed to be serious. If somebody comes and tells you a patient is serious, how do you understand? That they are on the way out. If you are serious, what does it mean? Same thing. Hello? There is substantial medical and scientific evidence to show that only when you're in a pleasant state of experience, your body and your brain works at its best. And for the sake of people who become your patients, so that they don't turn into your victims, it's very important that your body and your brain works at its best. Hello? It must work at its best. For this, it's very important, if you sit here, you're peaceful and joyful by your own nature. This much you must do for yourself. Before you touch somebody else, if I want to touch you, my hands must be clean, isn't it? It's a simple humanity. Before I touch somebody else, my hands should be clean. So before you talk about other people's health, you must be an emblem of health. You must do this to yourself. It's very, very important and it'll make a world of difference for the people that you treat.
Sadhguru, we have heard many stories of people who enter into a deep state of meditation and they forego basic human necessities like thirst and hunger for several months together. But science says that a person can die within 10 days of not drinking water. So can you please explain us how such a state of metabolism can be attained?
But this you will have to bend your mind a little bit, because it's not in your textbook like this. Just day before yesterday, somebody sent me a message from the yoga center. There is something called as Jnana Linga. This happens very often, but this happened to a foreign national, so the message came to me, little concerned. So this person went and sat in Jnana Linga at 7 o'clock in the morning, because everybody gets only a 15-minute slot to sit there because of the number of people. She sat there at 7 o'clock in the morning. She did not move till 3 p.m. How many hours is that? 3 plus 8 hours. She just sat there unmoving. She didn't realize that she's sitting that long. She thought she's going to sit for a 15-minute slot. So they sent a message to me, Sadhguru, like this, she's not moved, should we disturb her? I said, leave her alone, it's okay. Like this it happens. Once it happened, I sat down way back. I thought, this was new to me also at that time, I thought I'm going to… I sat there for 25–30 minutes. When I opened my eyes, a huge crowd in front of me in a village, garlands around my neck, they're all trying to pull my legs, in India, India being what it is. And the moment I open my eyes, somebody wants to know about his business, somebody wants to know when his daughters will get married, all kinds of things. Then I say, where did all you idiots come from? They say, you've been sitting here for 13 days. And so, what happens in the system? That's what you're asking. See, right now, I'm speaking. If you check my pulse, it's somewhere around 55, 58, in that region. If I simply sit quietly, it'll drop below 40. If I simply sit down and I'm doing something without interaction, talking, moving, if I simply sit, it'll drop below 40. Now this is at ease. This will not build any unnecessary friction inside. So the amount of energy it consumes is very low. All of you medical students, you know this, 20% of the energy in the body is consumed by your brain, though it is hardly a pound and a half at the most. So, this much body is consuming 20% of the energy. This much body is consuming only 80%. If you compare this and this in weight, it's 50 times more, much more. So, you must understand, if you keep your mind in a certain way, the amount of extra energy that you have is enormous, because you're not unnecessarily consuming wasteful usage of energy is not happening. This is true with every system, whether it's a car, whether it's a machine, whether it's anything, how friction-free it is running, that much energy will come down, isn't it? Anything that's happening with big friction will consume enormous amount of energy. So, physiologically, psychologically, energy-wise, if you bring friction-free function of your system, metabolism will drop and you will function very efficiently, because when you want to pitch it up, you have a whole range to pitch it up. When you want to lower it, it's there. Right now, the range that most people are carrying is very, very small. If you push them into activity, they will get totally tired out. If they have nothing to do, they will freak. If you have nothing to do, you freak, isn't it? So in this condition, it'll not go down. Now, everything that you consume is higher simply because you're at a higher RPM, that's all. Within 3 days, we can teach you a simple form of meditation, which will bring down your metabolism by approximately 24%. This is the highest drop that you can have in conscious states of meditativeness. If Metabolism drops beyond that, you will not have any sense of body. If you sit here, you have no sense of body. It is from this that a yogi is sitting. See, if you sit down here, even if you don't have a watch, your legs, your back, your bottom, everything is keeping time, isn't it? Hello? You don't need a watch. If you sit here for 3 hours, you know you need to get up. Body knows. So, someone is sitting for hours or days because there is no sense of body. Why there is no sense of body is not only because of drop in metabolism, it is also the intensity of your energy which is not biological energy. Another dimension of energy is fully intense. Once it pervades the entire body, you have no sense of body. If I go into a program 10 hours, 12 hours, I am the only one continuously drinking water, but I am the only one who will not go to the restroom, I am the only one who will not take a break. Everybody, every 2 hours they take a break and come back. Simply because how identified you are with your physiological process determines these things to start with. But there is also sadhana, there is also certain work to be done with your system. So everybody may not be willing to do that level of sadhana, but everybody must do some sadhana. Something so that what you wish to do, you can do effectively. Whatever it is in your life you wish to do, you must be able to do it as well as you can. What the hell you do is not my concern, but whatever the hell you're doing, you must do it well, isn't it? Hello? You must do it well. That's very important for a human being, that we must do it well. So for this, it's very, very important that your own body and your own mind is not an impediment. Your own body and your own mind doesn't trip you all the time. They must be platforms on which you stand. Right now, people have sunk into it. See, this is a platform, it's good. Suppose it lets you sink into it, it's not a good place to sit and talk, isn't it? It's holding us up, so it's nice. Your body, your mind should hold you up all the time. If that happens, your dependence on the outside will come down. And also, water is not always consumed through the mouth. Body consumes water in so many ways. If you activate the system in a certain way, it consumes energy. See, right now you're eating food, drinking water, breathing air, everything for what? To generate energy. But science has clearly proved to you there's enough energy everywhere. So if you're able to take in energy as it is, if you're able to imbibe energy, how is this possible? The word yoga means just this. The word yoga means you're beginning to obliterate the boundaries of your individuality. Right now, this is me, that's you, 100% clear, isn't it? Why? Because you think this body is me, that body is you. This is a clear boundary. My body and your body has a clear boundary. My mind and your mind also largely has a boundary. Here and there we may overlap a little bit. But there is no such thing as my life and your life. Have you ever blown soap bubbles, or were you a serious boy even when you were in school? No. Did you blow soap bubbles? Let's say we sit here and blow soap bubbles. You got this big bubble, I got that big bubble. Now I say, this is my bubble, that little one is yours, this is my bubble. Oop, it went. Now I don't say, this is my air, that is your air. Life is just like this. This is a living cosmos. You captured some, I captured some. How much you capture will determine the significance and the quality of your existence. I want you to understand this clearly. How much of life have you captured will determine this. You may have a big brain, you may have a huge intellect, you may have a lot of knowledge, but you will not still live a significant life. Only if you capture a lot of life, if you're a big bubble, then it's significant. If you have a big body, other people may look at you and say, he's very big, but within you, that'll not be the experience. If you have a big brain, people think, oh, he is very smart, but within you, you will not have a significant life. Only if you capture a huge amount of life within you, then if you sit here, simply if you sit here also, it's too fantastic. When it's like that, whether you open your eyes, close your eyes, whether you do something, you don't do something, it doesn't really make a difference to you. Only then you will live in the world as not being a vested interest, because what you do and do not do, what happens to you and does not happen to you, does not determine the quality of your life. That is when we can really trust you, isn't it? Otherwise, we don't know why you're doing the surgery. I mean, these question marks have come, isn't it? Can I tell you a joke? A man went for a surgery, he needed a surgery, so he went to the doctor. Doctor said, this is in United States, so doctor said it'll cost you $36,000. Then he said, doctor, I cannot pay that, I don't have insurance. Then doctor said, don't worry, you pay 3,000 per month. The patient said, but that looks like a car payment, installment to buy a car. The doctor smiled and said, yes, I am buying a car.
Sadhguru, in most medical colleges, the girls are almost twice or thrice as compared to the boys who enter.
I didn't notice that. Oh, is it so? I didn't notice that. Yes, they are, more than twice.
But we see a complete reversal in this ratio when it goes to post-graduation or the super specialities. Sadhguru, my question to you is, where is a woman's life or career compromised at some stage?
Well, nature has invested a higher level of responsibility in a woman's body than in a man's body. Well, more men are going to super speciality, but they were all delivered by women. All of them. So, I understand in professional career you may look at it that way, but that's not the way to look at life. Only because our mothers took time off to deliver us and nurture us, we are sitting here and talking all this, isn't it? Maybe my mother did not pursue her career. Has she become anything less, I'm asking? Has she? But I am sitting here for her. Hello? So that's not the way to look at life, but if it is some kind of a prejudice which is stopping them, then we must look at it. But I don't think so. Still, maybe for a lot of these girls who are here for medical, many of their parents think if she becomes a doctor, she will get a better husband. They're not thinking that she should become a great doctor. They're only thinking if she is MBBS, so, this is a generational thing, probably in another 15-20 years that will phase out. If you try to forcefully push it, it won't work. If you wait, individual people can do their own thing with their families. But as a social phenomena, I don't think you can push it. But if you wait for another 15-20 years, I think they will go. That kind of prejudice will go. But women by themselves may choose not to pursue careers beyond a certain point because a woman is naturally more life-oriented. When a man starts doing something, he forgets that he has to live. A woman knows that I must live. So because of this, she may take a wise decision, how much of what to do. Man's problem is, he just wants to be one step ahead of somebody, even if his life is ruined. Generally for a woman, her experience of life is more important than what somebody else is doing. So she's making a wiser choice.
Sadhguru, our Hippocratic oath tells us to keep our patients first, and our responsibility being to alleviate their suffering as well as their pain. But in certain cases, like in end stage of cancer or other cases, we feel like there is no cure. And more importantly, the patient is suffering, his suffering is more unbearable. So the question here is that do you think we can recommend euthanasia for patients like these despite it being against our moral code?
I think we already went through this in a certain way. But Hippocratic oath, Hippocrates oath is not about simply treating the patient. Hippocrates oath is about treating another human being as a human being first, not as a client. These days, in the West, doctors refer to their patients as clients. That's against Hippocrates' oath. It is another human being who's in some way fallen, and you have a certain capability. So, definitely, making him well is your basic humanity. So, they're trying to build an ethic to ensure that you don't lose your fundamental humanity, that's all the oath is about. Rest of it, there is a science to it, it has to go by that. And talking about cancer, if you look at it more carefully, far more intuitively if you look at it, there are many solutions to it. These solutions are not found simply because we are looking at it on the surface. When I say on the surface, because the entire allopathic system of medicine is symptomatic in nature, we are looking at the symptoms and trying to treat it. Now slowly science is going towards genetics and other dimensions, cellular sciences and stuff. They're trying to look at the source of it, but the source is even deeper than that. Is it true? Is it true? You were not born like this, you were born like this. Slowly you became like this. How did you become like this? The food that you eat. Because it's mango season, I'll choose the mango, okay? You eat a mango, mango goes inside and slowly becomes a man or a woman. Huh? Mango is not a man or a woman, isn't it? But you eat this, it goes inside and becomes a young man or a young woman. So there is an intelligence within this. There is an intelligence intrinsic to this which is capable of transforming a mango into a human being. Suppose I took a mango in my hand and made a human being out of it, who would you think I am? Hello? God, isn't it? So whatever you call as God is essentially that which is the source of creation. Isn't all of you capable of doing this? You take a mango in your stomach and make it into a human being, are you not doing it? Hello? Or take just about anything and make it into a human being. So the source of creation is throbbing within you. The question is only, do you have access or not? If you had access, one who built the whole machine, can't he do a repair job for you? If you buy a car, suppose there is some problem, would you prefer to go to the manufacturer or the local tinker? Huh? Who do you want to go? Really? Do you go to the manufacturer's representative showroom or do you go to the local tinker? They've all vanished largely, isn't it? People who go to the local tinker, you will see their cars are going like this on the road, grr, 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 like this. Those who are going to the showroom for their service and everything, they are the ones who are zipping around, isn't it so? So the manufacturer is sitting here. Well, if some damage happens from outside, then you go to the tinker. That is, if you get an infection from outside, you must go to the doctor, there is no other way. Rest, whatever happens from within, if as a society, as a population, as a generation of people, if we are willing to spend enough time on this, if we are willing to look at it as profoundly as it demands, depending upon how much value you set upon your life, you will pay that much attention, isn't it? If you have valued your life enormously, then if you pay enough attention, you find access to that which is a source. So, it will naturally do its things. You got an infection, you go to the doctor. Rest, you are manufacturing from within, isn't it? Most people are sick by choice. This may sound very cruel, but that's a fact. They're sick by choice because right from early childhood, they've been taught if they get sick, they will get what they want. Yes. Even when you were a child, don't you remember? If you're jumping with joy and screaming, they'll come and shout you down. You just have to sit and go coo, 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 like this. Suddenly they'll do mo, 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 everything for you. So even now, most people are doing this. Most people are doing this, when they want to get attention, they get sick. After some time, initially what starts as a play, sometime later it takes over. The play goes on without your help. Genuinely people become sick.
Thank you, Sadhguru, for answering our questions. We'd love to continue, but we have a lot of questions pouring in from the social media, and a couple of them are here waiting to be answered. So, coming to the first question.
This question is from Roshio. I am a doctor and I notice these days kids are being bombarded with antibiotics, steroids and immunity boosters. Is it possible to keep kids healthy with a good immunity by natural means?
Definitely possible, but it depends on various things. One important thing is, if we want to talk about India alone, one problem with India is, there is not enough natural spaces, nor is it there in the culture for people to take their children to natural spaces. They're all growing up in bird's nests. But bird grows up in a nest and then flies. I'm calling an apartment a bird's nest. It's a bird's nest, isn't it? Because in that limited space, without touching the soil, without touching natural air and without being exposed to the various aspects of nature, leaving the many other things, the fundamental thing is the five elements of water, soil, air, fire and space. These five things are the basic composition of this body. We have… in the basic practice of yoga is called Bhuta Shuddhi. That is, you cleanse these five elements within you. If these five elements are functioning well, everything else will function well. So the fundamentals of yoga comes from what is called as Bhuta Shuddhi. If you attain to what is called as Bhuta Siddhi, that you attain to certain mastery over any one of them, suddenly you live in a heightened level of existence. So can everybody do this? Yes, with simple awareness they can do it. They didn't keep water for you. Simple thing, water is kept in a copper vessel. Just something as small as that can make a big difference. And how you treat the water. Today there is enough science to tell you that water, soil, food has its own memory. What kind of memory you create, how you receive the food. The same food will do one thing in one person and completely different things in another person, depending upon how you receive it. So culturally, we have these things, if food arrives, you sit there, take a minute, bow down to the food, not to some god, to the food, because it's your life, isn't it? Hello? What's sitting in your plate is not something else, it's your life, yes or no? Right now, what you're breathing is your life or no? Did you ever… No? There. Something that you've not seen. The soil that you walk upon, the water that you drink, the air that you breathe, the food that you eat, this is your life. This is the source of your life right now. So in this culture, we always approach them in a certain way, not in a wanton way. When I say in a wanton way, some time ago I was just driving in Washington, D.C., in a very, what to say, an upscale area where all the top financial offices and all those kind of things are there. It's around 12:30 in the afternoon, I'm driving, and by looking at the men and women who are standing there, they're all well-dressed and they're just professionals working in financial companies and management companies and this kind of people. They're all standing outside and the food, their idea of nature is this, food is being sold on certain, what to say, not a proper restaurant, but it's being served on the street. So everybody is standing and of course, you know, that burger which is actually made for a hippopotamus, because it's this thick, how do you eat this? I don't have a mouth like that. How do you eat something which is this thick? But that's how you're supposed to eat. They're all standing and hacking at their food like this. I just saw this. If my mother or my grandmother has seen this, she would say they're eating like dogs. Yes, but this is our modern life, standing, mouth full and talking. You won't believe this. We used to do programs, now we have our own centers in America. Otherwise, earlier we used to do residential programs in summer camps, which the schools use. Everywhere when I first went, I see, for choking, when you're having in the dining halls, if choking happens, what to do? Emergency choking, this thing. In every school, this exercise is taught in America. How many cases do you get in India of choking on food? Not at all, isn't it? I have not seen a single person in my life choking on food. I didn't understand, why will choke? But every year, so many children die on choking. Why? Why? Do they have a smaller gullet or something? Nothing like that. Then I saw, the problem is, you're eating and talking at the same time. We were always taught, when we are eating, you don't open your mouth to speak, you shut up and eat. Hello? Focus on what you're eating, it's your life, you eat properly without talking to anybody. Mouth full, you're talking and you're choking on the food that you eat. Generally, in this tradition, it's considered the worst kind of death that can happen to you is you choked on your own food. So, like this, in the name of modernity, we are bringing these kind of practices. We don't treat the food that we eat properly. It's not just the taste, it is not just the way it's prepared, it's also the way you receive it. Very important. So, your devotion is for a god that you have not seen. But if I don't give you food for 5 days, if even God appears, what will you ask? Food only. So water that you drink, food that you eat, the air that you breathe and the soil that you walk upon, if you develop a certain sense of emotion towards it, they will behave differently within you. I know immediately, once this thing goes out, there will be activists who are in this country who will scream and yell and say this. But for those idiots, even the Western scientists have come out and said, the human consciousness has a huge impact on the food and water that we consume and even the air that we breathe. There's substantial evidence for that. As you said, even though we have the wrong skin, slowly we're getting around.
There's an add-on question from my side. The antibiotic resistance is increasing day by day, and Ayurvedic practices are declining day by day. So, how do we create a perfect amalgamation between the practices of Ayurveda and allopathy?
Ayurveda and Siddha and naturopathy is growing big time in the West, particularly in Europe, very big. In India, of course, it's dying because they have to approve it for us to take it. Without their approval, we cannot take it. But we must understand the difference between allopathy and these other Indian systems. Right now, an Ayurvedic doctor is going to another medical college just like you go for 4 years or 5 years or whatever. So what he's learning is a downgraded medicine, downgraded understanding. An Ayurvedic doctor or one who wants to practice Ayurveda should not go to a four-year course. You have to invest your life in it, otherwise it won't happen. Traditionally, from childhood, they learn to feel the herbs, they learn to feel the people, the pulse and this and that. This is developing a certain intuition where we don't go by the symptoms that you're showing on your body right now. We don't see your temperature and say, this is what it is. We don't look at those symptoms. We learn to look much deeper into the system to identify what exactly is right and wrong with your system. This will take a different level of involvement. That involvement is missing right now. We're looking at things, if I do this much, I must get this job or I must get this place in the world. With this, these systems may not function very well. You must have heard this, the same medicine one doctor gives in Ayurveda and Siddha, the same medicine, in one person's hands it works very well, in another person's hands it doesn't work well because the person who gives it is as important as the medicine, because it's not working just by its chemical composition. The entire allopathic system is working out of chemical composition. Anyway, there is a danger that in the next 25 years, all medical colleges may have to close down because artificial intelligence will make diagnosis by itself and treat you by itself. Surgeries are all happening now, robotic surgeries are happening. Still human beings are needed because machines need to be upgraded. But in 25 years' time, even today, in United States, I know doctors. I saw a doctor whom I know very well. He is carrying an old BlackBerry, the first model that came, which is that thick and a huge capability. Every time any patient, whatever, he just goes there into his BlackBerry. I said, what are you looking in the phone and treating people? He said, no, Sadhguru, all my textbooks are here in this phone. I'm just looking and telling them. So if you can look, the phone can become smart enough now that it will tell by itself. If you just tell the symptoms to Alexa, she will tell you what you should do. So, this form of symptomatic treatment may become irrelevant after some time because you're just gathering data and processing it and giving an answer. This a machine will be able to do better than any human being because it can process much faster and much better and not miss anything. So, it is time the young doctors who are coming up now should focus on how you should be able to look beyond the symptoms. This is what Ayurveda and Siddha is significant about. There was a yogi with whom I volunteered for some time for his medical camps that he used to have. It was like a festival. Okay, for everybody who comes to him, he has a joke to tell them and it goes on like a festival. Simply something he will give and people are cured, thousands of people will queue up for him every day. And he himself lived to be 106. So if somebody lives for 106 years of age, not in a geriatric state, fully active till the last day of his life, he must know something about health, isn't it? Hello? My great-grandmother lived to be 113. 113 years of age. I will tell you, this may sound absurd to you, But you must listen to this, because if you're not open, there'll be no new learning. Well, I saw her only after she's 100, but she was still very active. She was living all by herself in an open field. She built a small temple for herself, not for a god, for herself. She built a temple and she sat in it because she felt she deserves a temple. This is very common in India, especially women, older women, built small temples, they sat there and they served humanity in a different way, in their own way. So when we went there for vacations and all, she would come home. If you give her breakfast, she will take this and put it to the ants, to the squirrel, to the sparrows, everything. Most of the breakfast is gone like this. There are self-appointed advisors who look at this and say, "You old woman, you don't eat anything, you will die." They all died. And she will simply sit there looking at these sparrows and ants eating, simply tears would be rolling from her eyes. And when somebody said, "You've not eaten?" She said, "I'm full." When I sometimes saw her like this and I asked, "What is this happening to you?" she would just laugh loudly and she would say, "Someday you will know." It took me over 25 years to know this, that your life is not nourished 100% by the food that you consume and things that you do. Life is a bigger phenomena than what you think in your head, much larger. Before you came, this cosmos was there, everything was working. After you and me are gone, still it'll be fine, isn't it? There is an intelligence beyond you. Don't immediately quantify it as God, this, that, because you're making a conclusion about things that you do not know. If you stay here, this is very important, if you live here clearly knowing you don't know a damn thing about anything, your intelligence will remain alert to everything. But you make conclusions, reading a book, listening to this and that nonsense, you say, "I know this, I know that, I know that." The moment you identify with your knowledge, you will become very small, because it doesn't matter how much you know, still what you know is a minuscule in this existence, isn't it? But our ignorance is boundless. If this is called as the intelligence of ignorance, if you always know that you do not know, your intelligence will remain super alert. Whether your body is awake or asleep, it will remain super alert. This is what a doctor must do, because I'm sorry to say such things, you may know medicine, you might have read all the books in the world, you might have treated many patients, but still, like she already asked, she had a first death phase. Everything seems to be perfect, somebody will die in your hands. Everything looks like he's going to die, he will sit up tomorrow morning. You will see this happening, yes or no? So, there is intelligence beyond you and me, there's an intelligence which makes us happen, there's an intelligence which can make a mango into a human being. If you don't allow that to function within you, if you think everything is in your head, you will become a dumb doctor. You must allow the deeper intelligence within you to function.
Sadhguru, there's another question from Somalia. She wants to know, at Isha, there are many processes that involve tying of a thread around the hand of a person for their well-being. In Indian culture also, such practices are followed. For example, in Raksha Bandhan, a sister ties a thread around her brother's arm. What is the significance and purpose of Raksha Bandhan practice?
Oh, they're tying that plasticky chinky-minky on somebody's hand these days. The idea is to tie a consecrated thread. Marriage is also happening like that, isn't it? Mangal Sutra. Now, of course, they're wearing a dog chain. You're supposed to wear Mangal Sutra. Every year you're supposed to renew this, because energetically it is prepared in a certain way that it does certain things to you. It is in the preparation of the thread. Normally, we are using a non-sanforized cotton thread or a silk thread, which is not put through the chemical process. And we are using certain methods to energize this, because these are materials which can retain energy for a period of time. So this was used to bind people in a certain way, to create a certain sense of security and stability in the system. But Raksha Bandhan, all these things have become very market-oriented stuff. Everybody's trying a plastic, the chinky-minky stuff, what's all… it's made of all kinds of things. No, these are supposed to be done… See, only the ritual has remained, the science has not remained, that's a problem. Over a period of time, we've carried the ritual, but we've given up the science of it. So let us say it so happened, stretching it to the limit. It so happened you're a surgeon, after a few generations you forgot why you do surgery. You just understand you have to cut up people. Then you better be in the pathology laboratory, isn't it? Even there you cut with a purpose, not simply cut up people.
Sadhguru, this is the last question from the social media array of questions. So this question comes from Rim. He says that Steve Jobs was said to have a bad temperament. He often subjected his employees to profanity, fired them in public, and pushed them to the extreme limits of performance. He is also considered one of the greatest innovators of our time. Is such behavior justified as long as one delivers results?
I don't usually like to make a personal comment about somebody who's already dead, okay? But I'm asking you, one thing is what we do, another thing is what kind of human beings we are. Is it important what kind of human being you are? Hello? I did something, what did I do? I designed a phone. If you did not design it, Koreans would have done it, Chinese would have done it, Indians also beginning to do it. Yes or no? There is a certain brand building process in the world with which you can build a brand. And see, I want you to understand, you're a doctor, at least on the way. Does this body need oxygen or carbon dioxide? Oxygen. But people pumped carbon dioxide into your bottle and said the real thing, Coca-Cola. It's the largest brand on the planet, all right? More people drink, at least all these years, more people drank Coca-Cola than people did yoga or people did anything else. In the remotest part of this country, if you went 20 years ago, if you uttered the word yoga, they didn't know what it was. But if you said Coca-Cola, they knew what it was. So just because it's branded like this and marketed like this, does it become that your system has become such it likes carbon dioxide and doesn't like oxygen? Is it so? No. Only now because of the Prime Minister pushing yoga in a big way, today every village seems to know the word yoga, even if they don't know the practice of yoga. Branding again branding. So you can brand things in so many ways, you don't go by these things. You tell me, is it important that you are a pleasant and wonderful human being? Is it important for you? Otherwise you look at it the other way around. Do you like to be shouted at right now? I can shout. You like to be shouted at? No. Then why do you think somebody else likes it? Hello? You don't want to be abused, isn't it? Would you like to be abused? Then why do you ever think that somebody else likes it? When you don't like it, you know it is not nice to you, why do you do it to this person? Why do you do that? You lost your humanity fundamentally, isn't it? So, just because you made a lot of money, I don't think it means anything. Alexander, the great idiot, conquered half the known world. What does it mean? It doesn't mean a damn thing to me. Only a fool would call such a man as a great man. He just spent his whole life killing people, and you call him Alexander the Great? No, they forgot his third name, it was idiot. So, please do not go by these standards. Somebody has this much money, so he becomes a great man? I don't think so. Anyway, untimely death with cancer happened, you didn't pack all your money and go, there's no container service in the end. He went to the extent of saying that whatever at that time he had some $46 billion personal worth. He said, even if I have to use this $46 billion, every dollar of it, I would like to destroy Google. So you want to kill it, even if you lose all your money. There are people like this, even if both my eyes go, I want to take one eye of hers. This is the crudest level of existence as far as I am concerned.
Now coming to the most awaited part of this event.
What is that? You're going to dance?
Now we'll be opening, you can ask Sadhguru questions, you yourself. Audience members who would like to ask questions, please raise your hands and the volunteers will come.
Turn it on, please.
Namaskaram Sadhguru, I am Geetanjali and my question to you goes like this. I've come across two common myths
If you can hold the mic.
associated with organ donation. One is that if someone donates their organs, they will not have those organs in their body in their next birth. And second is that you don't get mukti. Do you agree with this? If not, what would you like to say to clear the misunderstanding of the masses? Thank you.
How many idiots are going to get mukti, first of all? The brain that you never used, if it can be used after you're gone, it's a good idea, isn't it? Hello? So, see, there are certain aspects to it which has been misunderstood and mispropagated. Today, medical sciences are also looking at this with great curiosity, that after a person is medically dead, certified dead, next 10 to 12 hours, a phenomena is happening in the body. You know this? So, when this phenomena is happening, if you start cutting up the body, it will disturb that phenomena. But in the yogic systems, we have known this for a very long time and we have systems with which we want to hasten that as quickly as possible. If you hasten this and that process is over, after that what you do with the body is nobody's business, okay? You can even give it to the local zoo as food. It won't mean anything except for people's emotions. But when the phenomena is on, if you disturb it, it has certain impact. It's not like if you gave away your liver, you will come without a liver, then what's the problem? If you can function well without a liver, so many people are functioning okay without a brain. So what is the problem? So, this nonsense should go. But at the same time, I meet a lot of people lot of particularly society ladies taking up organ donation as a mission in their life. Oh, everybody should donate their organs, donate their organs. Don't push it beyond a certain point, because it has other consequences. Already it's happening big time if you're not aware of it in certain countries. See, whatever liver, kidney, whatever you have, the organs, all of them are designed to last for a lifetime except in a few cases. Injury, or you drank yourself to death, or you're trying to, you did so many things wrong. Now, I every day drinking and my liver going, but I want your liver now. It's a very dangerous thing, please know this. You must understand it's not now. During Hitler's time, They tried to harvest organs and try to put it in other people. It didn't work, they didn't have the science understanding, but they tried. Even today, I hear lots of things in Cambodia, Vietnam, people are being captured and their organs stolen and it is being transplanted somewhere else where people can pay money for it. And you know it's happened in India, all right? So do not take organ donation beyond a certain point. Where it is needed, with somebody's consent, somebody gave it out of their love for someone else, that's a wonderful thing. How wonderful it is, I'm willing to give away a part of myself to make someone else live. Fantastic it is. But if I capture you and take your 2 kidneys and put it into my grandmother's body, this is a horrible process, isn't it? So we must be very cautious about this. We may do one thing with a certain intent, but where will it go? We must be able to see the consequences of our action. Don't push it too far, organ donation, organ donation. Yes, it must be there. It is an expression of compassion for another human being. A human being that you do not know somewhere, you want to give it, fantastic. But we must be very careful, it should not be pitched up in the society and create a marketplace for that. Once you create a marketplace, you cannot stop exploitation. You cannot. Nobody can stop it.
Namaskar Sadhguruji. I am Machani Somesh.
If you can hold it a little close, it's quite safe.
And my question is, have you ever regretted an answer you have given? If yes, what is that? If no, how can you be so sure of your answers?
Did I say something that I should regret here, sir?
I don't mean like this.
Huh?
I didn't mean like that.
Okay. Please sit down. See, certainty of life is a wrong thing. It is not about certainty, it is about clarity. What you say, what you see, you speak. What you don't see, you say, I don't know. Because I'm always willing to say, I don't know that. I will not say wrong things. Only if you try to speak something that you do not know, you end up saying wrong things, isn't it? I'm not such a fool, I'm not so arrogant in my life. If I don't know something, I'll say I don't know. So, that doesn't happen.
Namaskaram Sadhguru, I am Sahiti, final year medico. I would like to know, in our daily life, we come across bipolar situations, like one side we get praised for treating, and the other side, in the same moment, if we lose a patient without any due negligence, it's the blame on us. Like, how should we internally fix ourselves, not the perspective of others? How should we internally fix ourselves? Like, should we go with the pain, or should the let guilt eat us? Or should we go with this appreciations? Like, how should we cope up with this situation? Mainly in our budding stages of our careers.
You should not listen to both.
Be stoned.
Stoned? Oh, what are you on?
Like, I shouldn't go with the emotional happiness.
No, I'll come to that. See, somebody else's opinion becomes important in one's life only when you do not know what you're doing. Yes? If you are very clear about what you're doing, what somebody says, good things or bad things, it doesn't matter. In fact, the best things that have ever been done on this planet always got bad press, largely during their lifetimes, and it was only appreciated after they're gone. Today the time cycle has changed, it will come back sooner. Appreciation will come back sooner. But you must not be doing things because of appreciation, or fear of criticism, you must be doing something that matters to you, isn't it? It really matters to you that right now somebody comes to you with a broken hand it should matter to you that I want to fix this hand as quickly and as well as I can, with whatever means I have in my hands. If she comes to me when I'm in the orthopedic ward, I will treat her one way. Suppose in a jungle, we were out on a trek and she broke her hand, I will do in a different way, I'll take the local twigs and tie it up. All this fancy casing won't be there. But I'm doing my best, that much I know. It may not be the best treatment, but I'm doing my best always. This one thing you fix. Somebody else may come and say, see, the way you fix this plaster is not good, you should have fixed it that way and this way and this way and that way. Maybe he knows better, but the way I know it, I've done my best. This is all any human being can do, always. But you should not fall short of yourself, isn't it? What you can do must happen. In our lives, if we do not do what we cannot do, it's not a problem. But if we do not do what we can do, we are a disaster, isn't it? So you should not become such a disaster. So if you just stick to this one thing, people will say many things. You must see in the last 25 years, what all accusations and criticisms they've made about me. The same people, now they're all becoming not just fans, they're becoming devotees. At one time, what kind of abuse daily, even now there are some people who go on endlessly, endless abuse. People tell me, Sadhguru, how do you listen to all this? I said, just tell me what is the abuse going on because I wish to know. Sadhguru, you should not listen to all this. I said, I want to listen because when you came and threw flowers on me, fell at my feet, personally it doesn't mean a damn thing to me. If it's good for you, you do it. Or when you throw stones at me, it doesn't mean a damn thing to me, okay? Because I'm 100% clear what I'm doing. Maybe you will take time to evolve and appreciate what's happening, but this is not being done for your appreciation. This is being done because this is my way. Let me tell you a little story. A guru was there on the banks of Narmada. One day he went for, the bath was always a dip in the river. So he went for his bath. His disciple was holding his clothes and standing there because otherwise it's muddy if you keep it down. He went in and he saw a scorpion floating down in the water, struggling. A scorpion is not a swimmer, He's struggling. So the guru picked him up. The disciple screamed, don't take that scorpion, it'll sting you. Well, the scorpion stung him. The guru slowly walked down, slowly bringing him out. He stung him again and again. The disciple went on screaming, what are you doing? Just drop the damn thing. The guru walked and let him out on the bank and he went away. And the disciple said, what kind of rubbish is this? He bit you 3 times. How much pain is there? He said, see, what are you screaming about? The scorpion is doing what it knows best. I am doing what I know best. What are you talking? That's all. You're trained to be a doctor, you do your best, somebody says something. Somebody will live, somebody will die. But the question is, are you doing your best? That's all, isn't it? See, the doctors who treated patients 100 years ago, in today's level of medical science, they may look silly and stupid, but they were doing their best. That's all, isn't it? They let a whole lot of people die for small things because that's all they had. But they were doing their best or not is the only question. Because today medicine, science and technology has evolved, all kinds of things could be done. At that time, with what little they had, they did their best. Today also what you're doing may look silly in another 50 years' time. Yes? Yes or no? Medical science will go to places where you, being a doctor, what you think is great knowledge may look absurd and silly in 50 years or 100 years' time. Does it mean to say you're a bad doctor? No, you're doing your best. That's all you can do. Please do that one thing.
Namaskaram, Sadhguru. My question was already raised by the students panel over there. As you answered, we have to be calm, patient and self-engineering regarding the doctor attacks.
Oh.
So, what is the time period? I mean, how to safeguard our doctor fraternity from these attacks? We need some advice or suggestions how to safeguard us from these attacks.
Don't go to Bengal.
Add on to this.
I'll come to you. See, most of the time, correct me if I'm wrong with percentages, 99.9% of the time, most patients hugely appreciate what their doctor does. Right or wrong, they do not know. But just that somebody is looking at them when they are down, they hugely appreciate or no? Huh? Somewhere this minuscule 1.1%, don't make that a big issue. Then everybody thinks we must beat our doctors, okay? Don't get into that mode. This whole doctor thing happened because of the way certain leaders responded, all right? Not just because they were beaten. And even for them to beat, there is a political situation there which supports that kind of thing. That doesn't happen everywhere. And at the same time, you must also understand, not all doctors are straight either. There are corrupt people who do all kinds of things. There have been in Tamil Nadu, there have been situations where dead bodies have been kept in ICU for over 3 to 4 days and they were caught with that and beatings happened. The doctors didn't complain because they were caught properly. So I'm saying human beings do this and that. Don't make that the trend by overly talking about it. Here and there something happens. Don't pitch it up, doctors are being beaten. Now people think, yeah, we can beat the doctors whenever we want. Do not create that situation. Generally, 99.99% does not look at a doctor like that. Many people are looking at them godlike. Hello? So let's not create that culture simply by continuously talking about it. Yes, unfortunately it happened, and not only that it happened, it could have been easily diffused, but for whatever reasons, it went the way it went. If the election results were not so close behind, I don't think it would have happened that way. Yes, there is resentment, there is certain things happening in the society, so don't take that as everybody is attacking the doctors. They are not. Do not create that narrative, doctors can be beaten. No, nobody can be beaten, especially not a doctor.
We can have one last question from the audience.
Chetna. Hello. Namaskaram Sadhguruji. This is Akhileshwar Reddy, third year medical student. I have a question.
Speak up, huh?
In Telugu society, in Indian society, parents take up the responsibility to educate the children, to direct them into right career, whereas in contrast in Western society, children take up their own choices to what they become and earn their living. So, how can this change in Indian society?
I do not get the context of the question. You're saying here parents are supporting the children till they finish their education, or they're deciding what course you should take?
Deciding to pay the fees, they make their main choice of career.
Please, why don't you hold the microphone here? I know you want to speak from your heart, but it works better here.
Parents choose children's career, their life, what they become.
Is that so? They try to advise you a little forcefully. But I don't think they decide completely. They encourage you. If you don't go to what they want, your mother won't eat. Your father acts depressed. A little drama will happen at home. But if you are very clear where you want to go, you will cross the drama. But you yourself do not know what you want to do. Maybe you decided better to take advice from them. From somewhere you're taking advice, isn't it? Either from your friends, or from your teachers, or from your parents, or generally the trend in the society, you're taking advice from somewhere. So in that, parents also have a stake. Unless you are very clear what you want to do. I think most people, when they decide this, they're 17, 18 years of age, they have no clue what they want to do. They are being decided by social trends of the day. So why can't parents also have their say? They'll also have their say. So the most important thing is, there are two ways to decide a career. What is needed in the world today? Or what is it that I genuinely want to do? Do I have such a specific kind of inclination that I want to do only this? Let's say I want to be an artist. Now I have a certain talent. I don't want my talent to go by going to a medical college, if I have the talent. But I just went and saw a movie yesterday where in that hero was an artist. Because of that, a very pretty girl came and married him. Now, because of that, you want to become an artist, you don't know what's a brush and paint. Now parents will say, shut up and go to medical college. If you don't get that, go to engineering college. This is how Indian parents are thinking, because you must understand, in the previous generation, if you did not get the right education, you will end up on the street. Today's situation is little better. If you don't do this, you could do something else. But in the previous generation, their fear was always this: if my child doesn't get an education where job is certain, what will happen, what will happen, what will happen? They're coming from that. You have to give an allowance to that, you can't just ignore that. But if you are very clear, what is it that you are talented for, what is it that you are going to do, anyway that's going to happen, isn't it? So, it is not a question of Western and Eastern thing, West in something else is happening. You must see, I've been to so many universities across America and Europe. What I see is, in almost all the top universities, the students who are doing really well are just Indians, Chinese and Jews. The white Americans are really down because all these three societies have good parental support. Unfortunately for the white kids, the local Americans, except for certain families, most of them are out of their family by the time they're 18, they're living with their boyfriend or girlfriend, managing all that, they're working part-time and they're trying to study. Of course you get tired. What will you drop? Job or education? Education. Most people drop the education, so their numbers have dwindled. So small it's become. You really go to any top university and see, everywhere there used to be too many Indians, but today there are more Chinese, second is Indians, third is Jewish people. All of them have solid family support. They don't have to go and work somewhere, they don't have to do something. All the parents want is you study, and they come to the university, sit there and see if they're studying or not, what's happening, everything. The other kids are just drunk in the evening, doing those things. If that's what you want to do, it's fine. But that's not called education, that's all. After some time, in the society, who will dominate the situation will be determined by who gets educated, isn't it? So in that concern, parents want to push, but I don't think that time is gone. For most of you, if you show a certain kind of affinity or talent towards something, I don't think cruelly somebody will push you into one thing. It is just that if your father happens to be a physician, he wants you to be a physician. I've gone through plenty of that, okay? So, that'll happen, but you must be clear what you want. When you don't know what you want, maybe it's better to listen to somebody who seems to know a little better.
Thank you, Sadhguru, for answering all our questions so patiently. Because of time constraint, I'm sure there are many more people who are waiting for your answers, but because of time constraint, we'll have to end this here. Okay. Can we extend it to one more question?
Yes, please.
Namaskaram, Sadhguru. I'm a huge fan of you.
Not able to see you, huh? If you're a fan, why are you there? You must be in the ceiling.
Sadhguru, I'm so curious to know everything about life and this creation. So I have so many questions to ask. But you know everything, Sadhguru. So I want to know every information you know. So how can I gain that information, everything you know?
See, this is not about information. Even yesterday this came up, I don't know why all Telugu people asking same question. See, there are different dimensions of human intelligence. Right now, you have an education system which is leaning on just one dimension of your intelligence, which is called as buddhi or the intellect. You're simply depending upon intellect. Intellect is like this. I'm going to ask you a question, all of you should answer, okay? Do you want your intellect sharp or blunt? So you understand that intellect is like a knife. It's a cutting instrument, it's a scalpel. So if I want to dissect you, I need a sharp knife. So if I dissect you, suppose I really want to know you, shall I dissect you? Hello? That's the way to know, that's the way you know human body. So if I dissect you, will I know you? I may look at your kidney, liver, spleen, this, that, but I cannot know you because you will be gone. You have dissected frogs and cockroaches at one time. Have you, or has it stopped? Stopped. When we were studying, we had to dissect these things. And we open up the frog, poor thing is nailed like Jesus Christ. Nailed to the wood. And his heart is beating. The teacher coming and telling, heart is beating like this is happening, this is happening. I'm just looking and thinking, what is the damn frog thinking about me? You know? Of course he can understand that much. What kind of an idiot is this, that he opens up my body, looks at the heart pumping and says, heart is pumping nicely. You would have just asked him, he would have told you, yes, it's beating. So, by dissection, you can only know certain things, physical things you can know. You cannot know life by dissection. But right now, you only have a cutting instrument. For everything same. See, if you want to cut something, knife is a useful instrument. Suppose I want to sew my clothes, if I use a knife, it'll be in tatters. That's all that's happening to human life right now. Because they're using a single dimension of intelligence for everything. They're using a knife to fix everything. I must tell you, there was a time when I crisscrossed India on my motorcycle. So I'm somewhere between Madhya Pradesh and UP, early morning, whole night I'm like this, day and night I will ride without sleep. Up to 3 days, no sleep, I will be just riding simply, no destination. Simply I enjoyed seeing India. Simply I rode, not to any particular destination. So full night I have been riding. Early morning around 6:30, I come to a place where there's one little tea shop. I stop there and those days and even now, if you're riding a chain-driven motorcycle, every few thousand kilometers you have to tighten the chain, otherwise it'll become slack. So my chain has become little slack. I have all the tools and everything to fix these things. But early morning, it's easy job to do, but your hands will become greasy, then you'll have to wash a lot to get the grease out. Then I sit down to have a tea, then I look, there is one little shack where is written Mubarak Mechanical Works. So I thought, anyway, Mubarak Mechanical Works, I saw a strapping young youth. I said, hey, come here. I said, this chain is loose, can you fix it? He said, no problem, I can fix it. Then he went inside his shack and came back with a chisel and a hammer. Then I looked at it and said, what? You going to fix my chain with chisel and hammer? He said, yeah, I can do it, I can do it. I said, just wait. I walked down to his garage, Mubarak Mechanical Works, I walked inside. All he's got is a chisel and hammer. And he will repair anything in your motorcycle. But after he does it, that's it. After that, nobody can open or close anything. With the chisel and hammer, he opens the bolt, nut, everything and does work, but after that it's finished. I said, no, you're not going to touch my motorcycle I will do it. Why I'm telling you this is, right now most human beings have become Mubarak Mechanical Works. They only have a knife. With a knife, they're trying to fix everything. It doesn't matter, see, just look at this and see. Is it the educated people or the uneducated people who are ruining this planet right now? Arey, education should have brought more sense, isn't it? No, they're trying to fix everything with a knife. The cutting instrument, they're trying to do all activity. There will be a mess. That goes for a doctor also. A more holistic approach is needed, especially with medicine, with all aspects of life for that matter. So, the important thing is this, there are other dimensions of intelligence. We have buddhi, ahankara, manas, chitta, like this. In yoga, we look at human mind as 16 different dimensions. These 16 dimensions have different approaches to life. If you do not cultivate all those, you are only thinking of life as storing information. No, you don't have to store information. It's like this. How much time do you spend in front of the mirror?
Half of my day.
Half of your day?
Not enough.
Okay. I didn't think a doctor got so much time to spend in front of the mirror. Anyway, whatever time. Suppose the mirror that you're using at home had memory and remembered at least 10% of what it has seen. Today, if you went and stand in front of that mirror, it would be a total mess or no? Hello? The reason why a mirror is showing you just the way you are is because it has no memory. It might have seen 10,000 people, but it has no memory. Because of this, it simply sees everything just the way it is. This is what you need to do to your mind, it takes some work. Right now, you are totally leaning on one aspect, which is the intellect. Tell me, if I take away your memory, would your intellect be of any use? Hello? Your intellect is useless without the backing of the memory, isn't it? So that is what the problem is. Like I said earlier, your memory is your knowledge and it's your limitation because it sets a boundary. What I know, what I do not know is a boundary, isn't it, between me and something else. If you want to breach that boundary, you must understand experientially the intelligence of ignorance, because memory is not the way. Memory is a very small thing, it'll help you to survive. It will not show you anything else. It will only recycle the same stuff over and over again. Recycling something cannot be considered intelligent. Machine can do that. You will see in the next 10, 20 years, you will see everything that you think is knowledge will be useless. Scholars who read 10 books, suddenly they become very important. If you read 10 books, you become a scholar. If you just read one book, you become a religious person. And suddenly, by reading one book, how did you become a representative of God? I don't understand. Just reading a single book. We must look at this because this is very important. Human memory is very small. My phone has more memory than you, it has 600 GB. It can do 10 PhDs in a day. Yes. So, people who are reading something, remembering something and they're doing something great, those days are over. What you need is, you need an incisive intelligence which sees everything just the way it is. For this you need a plain mirror which doesn't remember anything but simply reflects what is there. If you want to work on it, please come, you're a big fan, we'll hang you somewhere. Thank you very much. Whatever you do, this is a great possibility that you are in a medical school, still in the world, most of the population is unserved. So, please, whatever you do, wherever you go, just know this one thing, that when people are sick, they are down. And when people are down, they need the best treatment. Hello? When I'm standing, you can fight with me. When I'm down, you must treat me gently, isn't it? Hello? So, just know people who are coming to you, in some way they're down. You must give the best that you have to that person. Just do this one thing as a doctor, even if you don't become super specialist, just this will do wonderful things to people. Thank you very much.